how do we protect plants? We've got to figure out a way how to protect plants from things coming in on them and being problematic. We are looking at a few things. Number one is we reduce primary inoculum. Primary inoculum is the first inoculum there. It may come in on a seed. We've got to be able to treat the seed so that it's not a problem. It may come in an airborne form. We've got to figure out a way to knock down the airborne form. It may be present in the soil. We've got to figure out a way to decrease it in the soil. We do all this by looking at the disease triangle, figuring out what are all the environmental factors that impact the inoculum and the host, see how they interrelate so that we can come out with a protective sort of mechanism on the plants. We need to protect them from infection, which means we may treat them in some way to reduce the primary inoculum. We may add something to them that will help decrease the amount of infection. In secondary inoculum, it's slowing down the stages or the speed at which it goes forward. If we can change from 7 days to 14 days, the amount of time it takes for the pathogen to sporulate, we will decrease or slow down tremendously the spread of plants within that particular part. We've got to look at how do we decrease secondary inoculum so that it takes longer. We also look at how do we go in and decrease material out in the field so that it might not be able to do as much damage. A lot of this can go down to what we call cultural practices. Cultural practices are anything that you do that changes the cropping environment so that the pathogen does not have the upper hand. When we look at these particular things, down on the bottom, we've got the way we plant tomatoes in Florida. The plants really are planted into a black plastic sort of area. The black plastic does a couple of things. Number one is, underneath the black plastic, you're going to have an irrigation tube. So moisture is put only on the root system, not on the above ground system. This decreases the humidity on the above ground part. The other thing is it's going to reduce weeds, so you reduce competition in there. When you do this, you have a cropping situation that favors the plant and decreases the pathogen. On the upper part, it looks like a field. This is being grown in organic soil. You can see that certain parts of it seem to be doing much better than others. We do this to evaluate what sort of cropping system we can change in here to make it better for the plant suppressing the pathogen. This was done somewhere down in Central America. They took these little pieces of bamboo, they kind of made a mat out of it. They planted the crop grows up through the bamboo. It keeps all the leafy material and everything else that was down there out. It decreases contact. This is what happens in the same area if you don't have the bamboo mat. Notice, it stopped this particular pathogen just about cold. What happens is the pathogen comes out of the soil, it finds a way up onto the young leaves. In this particular case, it can't get on the leaves because the leaves are already up above the barrier. This is a cultural practice, no pesticide involved. These become very interesting in ways that we can decrease pathogen. In this particular case, they're mowing the grass. What time of day do they mow the grass? They do it at 6 o'clock in the morning. Why? You can see in the background that there is still dew on the grass. After he comes by and mows it, there's no longer any dew on the grass. You have decreased the amount of time that the plant is moist from dew, which decreases the amount of time that the pathogen can get in, and many times actually stops the pathogen cold. This is a cultural practice. No chemicals have been applied. We separate fields with forested areas. By doing that, it keeps spores from blowing from one field onto the next. A cultural practice that interferes with the environment on the pathogen, or interferes with the environment that favors the host. Cultural practices are very important in